Hello and welcome back to Let's Play Astro Omega Factor. Last time we fought Atlas and learned the secrets of our origins before returning home from our little excursion to the moon. Number 12. Rag, the world's first robot president in Antarctica. He has many human enemies. He appeared in the episode His Highness Deadcross, but did not feature alongside Black Looks. These two separate stories have been combined into one for this game. Noriko Ohara was the voice actor for the anime in 1980. Rag's a politician robot created for the express purpose of holding office. He's a strong proponent of equality, and while that puts him at odds with some, he does have the support of the majority, which is necessary for him because his antennae are meant to convert the people's trust into the energy that powers him. His odd name does have some backstory to it, but that'll become more apparent as the story unfolds, so I'll just leave it at that. Number 13, Duke Red. An international counselor, he strives to understand the robots. Duke Red's a character who's shown up in Astro Boy before, but isn't native to it, instead having made his debut in Metropolis. As you may have already noticed, he's also our first character with a gray profile picture. This is something that'll be popping up on occasion, and means that while Astros come to understand an aspect of their personality or role in the story, there's still more to the character than meets the eye. Tragically, this also means we'll have to be foregoing an upgrade until we get to know the Duke a bit better. Finally being set free after that long bit of dialogue, we're still not completely independent, as we're not allowed to head back to that nice little train station we were at before. Now, much like Cruise from Island before it, this stage is something of a mashup of two different stories, Black Looks and His Highness Deadcross. These guys are the Black Looks, and the setting of Antarctica is also taken from the former story, in which the Black Looks were a shady organization of humans looking to destroy every robot in a position of power, much like our dashing new President Reg here. Antarctica in the story was something of their base of operations, as well as a hotbed of racism and violence, one which Wally and Astro find themselves having to deal with. It's a really dark departure from the last few stories the game used, as we've now gone from punching cutesy little robots to knocking about literal human terrorists as they try to interrupt a presidential inauguration. I really appreciate said terrorists though, because they're probably my favorite enemies in game. Kicking them around is super satisfying, and decking racist humans is always a worthwhile pastime. They punch and shoot lasers from their handguns, but don't really take well to getting hurt and aren't especially threatening. They did manage to destroy those cool looking Reg posters though, so I guess they're not completely ineffectual. Number 14, Nuka. Duke Red's daughter, she is an advanced robot. Astro seems to fancy her. Like the Duke, there's more going on here, but I'd like to note her position. The Omega Factor features certain larger panels with Japanese characters along the edges, with the characters placed into them being rather important to the story and embodying the listed virtue. Other characters are usually grouped closest to their corresponding traits, so keep a lookout for that. Now we're heading into another aerial section, chasing what is presumably the boss of the Black Looks, given that rather gaudy costume he's wearing. Black Looks members are incapable of flight, so they're given these nice little aerial platforms upon which to do their business. Interestingly enough, though, you're able to attack either the platforms directly, or the Black Looks members themselves. You generally don't want to destroy the Black Looks members, though, because all that does is enrage the platforms so they come looking for revenge for their masters, and also sneak up behind you. Unlike the aerial section in Cruise from Island, this one features enemies coming from both sides, and when you pass the halfway point of the screen, you'll switch sides so that you can deal with them if they're coming in from the left or the right. The machine guns are really helpful for stunning them and managing to hit all of them at once, but given that I haven't really upgraded it at all, it's not as effective as it might be. Again though, the Black Looks really aren't all that threatening, and their platforms only shoot 2 bullets as long as you aren't stupid and take out the Black Looks members first. So, it's not really that big a problem. Until their leader comes up, except it's still not really a problem. This guy, the Mystery Man, the leader of the Black Looks, has basically the same kind of attacks except a little powered up. His sword slashes basically function the same way as the laser guns do for the normal Black Looks members, and the platform shoots homing missiles instead of little shots. If you take out the man first, it will go berserk, but you shouldn't have a problem with that because this mid-boss is piss easy. Alas, we have been duped, heading out to defeat the big bad when in fact that was exactly what they wanted us to do. Which in turn means that this excursion was entirely meaningless and we get to head right back to where we came from. It's a little different this time around though. They've scrapped the dual side mechanic in favor of some obstacle challenges utilizing these oddballs. It's not too difficult to thread in between them, but if you want to dash, it's important to utilize what I know as laser cancelling, stopping your dash midway through usage of a finger laser. Because if you fail to do so, you are going to smack right into a spiky, and that is no good. These spikies are a little different mechanically. You can destroy them and must destroy them, but destroying them makes them explode, which is less than ideal. So smart people will do it with the machine guns and completely nullify that problem right off the bat. And now we're getting little black looks. Like other enemies, these guys get rescaled, but unlike other enemies, you gotta wonder how they pull it off. Like, do they have an entire platoon of people with dwarfism? It's gonna settle into various waves of enemies, so I'm gonna take this time to talk about the other story involved in the stage, His Highness Deadcross. Whereas black looks provide the setting, this story is the one that supplies much of the plot for this stage. Raig's the new president of a country called Gravia. Astro gets summoned by his aide to help protect him until he can get sworn in, and Wally comes along to chaperone. It too focuses on racism and violence between robots, providing the link between the two stories. But here the rabble-rousers are a political party known as the Deadcross Party. They all wore uniforms identical to the one Mr. Midboss was wearing before, and wished to remove Raig from office and instate their own leader in his place. Neither Nukin nor Duke Red were in any way involved in the story, but otherwise it basically flows the same way it does here, with various threats cropping up and trying to murder Raig and Astro stopping each and every one of them. I'm really a fan of this stage. It combines the stories pretty well and features some nicely tense music and really fun enemies. How on earth did they find a guy that big? But it's a bit of a mixed bag as far as the gameplay goes. It's very plot heavy, and this whole aerial section feels a little odd as we don't really go anywhere and the stage boss is a really odd choice. The imposter kindly informed us of Carobs. It's a tank converted into a flying bomb, but what the imposter didn't mention is that Carobs is also, in fact, a giant metal beetle. Carobs is from a kind of obscure story that I'm relatively certain never got animated, and has absolutely nothing to do with the overarching plot going on here. It was created in France as a failsafe in case relations fell out with an unnamed neighbor, but ended up getting stored away and unused until a bunch of psychic schoolboys decide that they'd like to take it for a joyride. Its name comes from Carobus, a type of beetle, and it follows that theme design-wise, but it also takes after the artificial sun in its size, boss theme, and terrifying visage. Treasure really seems to have a thing for adding bits and bobs to the less visually impressive bosses, and that right there is a face that not even a mother could love. Carobus is a bit unique as far as bosses go. Most of the ones in this game don't feature contact damage, but Carobus picks up the slack for all of them, dealing moderate damage with its projectile types, but devastating damage through contact. Fighting it basically requires you to lure it to the edges of the screen so you can move and circle around above or below it, and continue attacking its weak points, said ugly mug. It does have mercy on you occasionally though, by using frame rate butchering waves of bullets while making itself a nice juicy floating target. The only things to really watch out for are its horn ram attack and the incredibly fast barrage of blue lasers it uses after going off the screen for a second. It's the type of boss that destroys if it hits once, but has to really work to get that hit in. Carob's death brings an end to his stage, and it's a little lackluster coming off of Atlas, but they can all be memorable climactic struggles, I suppose. stunning events and unexpected appearances bring us to our first chapter in the game to flow directly into the next one. Something similar did happen to Reg in the original story, but it wasn't quite as explosively permanent. This terrorist bombing marks a decidedly dark tonal shift in the story, and definitely caught me off guard my first time through. Unfortunately for you, though, you're gonna have to hang off that cliff for a while. In the meantime, I'd recommend you go on YouTube, search for Undersea Super Train Marine Express, and watch the thing. Because, take my word for it, it'll help. Until then though, thanks for watching and I'll see you next time.